Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. What is going on? The saga continues. It is story time, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I'm talking about Dawson's Creek. Like as I'm like getting all this together, I'm like, okay, and then Blake actually gets called out, and then Candace says, and Erica might be there. Oh my gosh. And George said, no, you cannot do that podcast. There's a whole lot of stuff going on here, but it's very interesting to see. And also, two things that I theorized seem to be correct. Candace validates this in her live stream. We're going to go over that. She was just live just a few hours ago. And also, Blake verifies what I theorized about Erica. Okay, if you don't remember from yesterday's episode, I was just talking about Erica and what I think all this is leading up to. And the reason there is a specific date of December 15th, there's something going on there. And I'm going to build on that point in this episode. And also Candace, again, she says some things that are very glaring. She says everything except the thing that I say about George, about her husband. And I don't know why she's not saying that. Maybe it doesn't sound good. Maybe it's just no one's business. She doesn't want to put it out there. But let's go over everything. So of course, we have Candace. As you guys all know, Candace is very upset about what's going on, as she should be. She thought she was going to get the opportunity to do this whole thing. Blake ends up saying no. Blake then jumps on this live stream. How about that? Hey, live streams are unacceptable, but there he is on a live stream. Well, that's nice. Hey, you know why he's doing it like that? Because live streaming is easy. It's easy to do. It just takes a couple of clicks, and then you and the person just talk. Oh, it's really nice being in 2025. Seems like the other day he was living in 1982 or 1984, depending on who you ask. And now he's back in 2025 with the rest of us and has Andrew via live stream. How about that? Oh man, I knew I was onto something when I was saying it was just completely disingenuous the way he was going, but we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on what he said and everything like that. So that's Blake on live stream, and Candace, of course, you can see Candace here. She's very, very upset with this whole thing, but there's something else going on here. And it's that Blake is kind of insinuating that Erica Kirk is going to be involved in this whole thing in the live stream, perhaps even there. Now, I'm going to give you my insight on if I think that is a possibility. But the reason she thinks that Blake is insinuating that Erica might actually be there is because Blake is actually saying, hey, this is all under the direction of Erica. But let me just play the quick clip.
Okay. I made it at the request of Erica. All of this has been at the direction and approval of Erica.
It's very interesting. All of it. So his little 10-minute monologue where he's talking about Candace, where he's putting out all these things, he's saying that was at Erica's request and approval, direction even. I find that very interesting. Someone who stayed so silent all of a sudden directs Blake to do that kind of thing. I'm going to be honest, just right up front. I don't believe that. I don't believe that she said, here's this thing, or she said to Andrew, you're the spokesperson guy, write something up real nice for Blake. Blake, you're going to take this online and you're going to put this out there, okay? Everybody, listen, I love Erica, but she's not a general. Guys, we all know Mikey McCoy is the general, okay? Okay, everybody knows he's a 5-star general. Everybody knows that. So I don't know if Erica actually did this. I think maybe she's like, hey, I got a lot of things to do and there's a lot of stuff going on. Trust your judgment. Maybe that's some of what's going on. But Blake is insinuating that Erica will be there. But when he does that, Candace is just like, what's going on? Huh? Pardon me? Like we all would be. And Candace actually says this. She says, I don't love the fact that he heavily implies that Erica sanctioned that he obviously didn't write it himself. Okay, I know I'm taking transcripts here. So a lot of the times when people are talking, happens to me even, if you put what I'm saying into words right now, you'd be like, oh, this is written really weird. Implies that Erica sanctioned that. He obviously didn't write it himself. She's talking about Blake's long monologue, and she is CEO, and it would follow that a CO would write that, or sorry, would read that. Why allow for those lies in there and misinterpretations? I don't get it, and I do hope she attends, because these would be my questions. Now, the thing about that is, all right, guys, there's 3 things I need you to do. Like, subscribe, and go check out the Patreon. That's it. Get back to the episode. She's talking about the monologue and how many lies were in there. And I don't think Erica is all up to date on every single theory. I don't think she wrote that whole thing. That wouldn't make any sense at all. That sounds like either something that Blake wrote or something that Andrew wrote. But if Blake wrote it and he knew he was going to read it, he probably would have had it more memorized, I would think, because he was literally for sentence reading it off of a sheet of paper. If Andrew was the one that said it, he'd be able to memorize it a little better, because that's what he does. I think Andrew wrote it, and Blake had to be the guy to actually deliver it. That's what I think is going on right now, because Andrew is not into taking heat or anything. Now, Candace also said this. She said, and I would especially like to make this work if you're saying or implying Erica is going to be there. So this is a new opening. Candace is now trying to pry this door back open and get into that live stream and actually attend in person. If Erica's going to be there, because the reality is that would be a game changer. I think that's a game changer. I think it would be very powerful to have her there to represent the viewpoints in a way that they're maybe not being shared by Blake Neff, who is incredibly unlikable. Just reading it out like that, who is incredibly unlikable and speaks down to people. I don't know why he does that. It sounds like he does. I don't actually know the guy. Working on an episode about his past, just because there's so many glaring things there, and I feel like I should, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it seems like he's the type of guy to do that. But again, Candace is now open to actually having this whole thing in person if Erica's going to be there. Candace also went on to say this. Also, Erica, if you're watching, can I submit 5 questions? Since it has to be in person, can I submit like Candace's top 5 questions? Can we do that, or is it too hard because it has to be in person? So that was Candace trying to figure that whole thing out. And the thing about it is, I don't know if Erica would actually be there. Here's the reason why. She can't be seen getting along with Candace. She can't be. This is what she can't do. This is what nobody, for some reason, all these conservatives who were all gung-ho about free speech and all this stuff, now all of a sudden they have to call, like you saw Tim Pool going on his insane rant about Candace, talking about her like she's a man that he wants to like get violent with. Like, it was absolutely disgusting. No one who is part of that Philadelphia crew, or $7,000 club, whatever you want to call it, no, they are not allowed to get along with Candace. They are not allowed to have Candace on their shows and act like everything's fine. They are not allowed to laugh with her. They are not allowed to connect with her. They are not allowed to find common ground with her. They're not allowed to do anything like that right now. Erica especially can't do that. If Tim Pool's not allowed to do that, and Patrick Bet-David can't do that, Erica definitely can't do that right now. If Erica's sitting with her, listening to her, they're having a back and forth, maybe they even share a laugh, maybe they share a memory of Charlie, all those things, that can't be allowed. Now, who it can't be allowed by, I would say the donors. The same donors that Charlie was talking about in that text message thread. The same donors who are threatening to walk away when Charlie has Tucker Carlson on stage. The same donors who didn't like Dave Smith hammering Josh Hammer the way he did in that debate. Those donors are not going to put up with Erica just being with Candace, talking with Candace. The only way right now, and you can see it, you go on the X, you go and you find people who are talking, all of these talking heads who are supposed to just be like, oh, we're so independent, we don't give a F. Yeah, all those guys, the only interaction that they're allowed to have with Candace is vulgar, angry, furious interactions where they're calling her names, they're calling her crazy, they're suggesting her husband has to walk in like it's the 1950s and throw her over his shoulder and kick down all her podcast equipment. That's the only type of interactions they're allowed to have with her. Nothing else. They're not allowed to agree with her. They're not allowed to say, I don't agree with this, but I do agree with this. They're not allowed to do that right now. They're on a very tight leash, and you can tell them I said so. I mean, I think it's very obvious to everybody. Okay, I'm going into a TED Talk again, though. But people right away noticed what Blake was doing, right? Even Barron himself was like, the irony of insisting Candace appear in person in order to be authentic while hosting a show with a co-host who is not there in person is too rich to ignore. Now, what Barron actually means by that is that Andrew, like I said before, was there the whole time via live stream. And Blake is saying it has to be in person. Now, if you want the exact words, I noticed Candace did this too. And you have to when you hear what Blake says, because I actually wrote down exactly what he said. A viewer calls out Blake. This viewer says, hey, this whole thing with Candace, and she said she could do a live stream, and then you said no. And what's going on there? Somebody who's a supporter of Turning Point, who's probably having second thoughts as they see this all play out. I mean, this is very much like the Daily Wire when Candace was leaving. It's the same type of energy. It's very backhanded. You can tell there's some deception going on. It's just, you could just see it. If you remember back to what was going on at that point in her career, it's the same energy. But this is exactly what Blake said when that person was saying, why does it have to be in person? He said, it's pretty intuitive, given what is being said. What the way this has worked is that it's critical to be in person if you want to be authentic and to be detailed. And that is what we think is a fair request to make if she's going to participate. Listen, I might have trouble reading sometimes. I'm telling you, I nailed it. That's what he said. Those were the words. It's pretty intuitive given what is being said. What the way this has worked is that it's critical to be in person. Keep in mind, the question is, why does she have to be there in person? So he's saying, again, it's pretty intuitive given what is being said, what the way, it's so hard to read things that don't make sense. What the way this has worked is that it's critical to be in person if you want to be authentic and to be detailed. And that is what we think is a fair request to make if she's going to participate. It's just amazing. Just a human Mad Libs. He's just human Mad Libs. Listen, Charlie was prophetic in a lot of ways. But Charlie said, Frank Turek's like, Charlie said, Blake is the smartest guy he knows. What? Huh? Doesn't Charlie know presidents and senators and what? Didn't Charlie know Elon Musk? What? Huh? I don't know. I kind of believed Frank when he said that. But after this, I'm not quite sure. Okay? But that's what happens when you sell yourself out, right? Like you go awry, If all of a sudden, like if somebody made me say something or gave me a teleprompter and they're like, this is the message you have to say, you're going to say it right now, say you love Philadelphia, I wouldn't sound the same. Anything that you like about me would go out the window because now I'm being forced into this box and it doesn't work properly, and I think that might be what's happening with Blake there. But that's what he says. To be authentic, to be detailed, it has to be in person. Doesn't make any sense. Every single person knows You and I are not in person right now. I'm getting pretty detailed, right? I'm keeping it pretty authentic, right? You're pretty authentic too. Look at you sitting there in your boxers. Huh? I know there's one person in their boxers. They're like, what the is this a live stream? Can he see me? Putting tape on their laptop right now. Putting tape on their phone camera right now. But it just doesn't make any sense, guys. And that's what Blake's going with there. Yeah, the whole thing is just so messed up. I mean, here's more reactions of what people are thinking. We got James Lee here. Blake Neff, it's critical to be in person. As co-host, Andrew Colvette joins remotely. Here we believe that you need to attend in person if you want to be authentic and detailed. Virtual, like everybody's just picking up on it. This is the least persuasive explanation imaginable for why they're refusing to let Candace join the conversation virtually. No matter what you think of her claims, this is not a good look by Turning Point USA. They host virtual interviews and discussions every day. 100%. And honestly, when I'm telling you what Blake said, okay, when I read this is what it sounds like to me. The way he says, it's intuitive given what's being said, what the way this has worked. It's critical to be in person. You know what that sounds like as he explains that? It sounds like when two guys get into like fighting words with each other, and one guy's had enough, and he's like outside yelling for the other guy to come outside with him. And he's just like, I just want to shake his hand. No, because I saw him and his beard's great. And the thing about it is outside has a breeze and it's nice on our necks. And if he just came out and shook my hand, we could just have fun and be friends, maybe, because I just want to talk about it. And you're like, what is this guy saying right now? And what the guy is basically saying is, I want him to come outside so I can knock him out. That's what Blake sounds like, a guy who's calling Candace over. Like, no, you have to come to this address. Yeah, you got to come to this address, and me and 5 of my boys are going to be here, and we just want to talk. Nah, you just come inside. Nah, no security inside. Sorry. Nah, we don't allow that many dudes inside. Just come inside. It's all good. What, you scared? You good? Erica's inside. Yeah, you want to see her? You got to come inside. Yeah, just come inside. Yeah, it's all good. That's what it sounds like to me. I've been in some problems before. That's the type of energy that's giving off right there. But they wouldn't do that. They're nice guys. Listen, they don't let off shots. They're just the kind of people that when shots go off, they immediately walk away and they act like nothing happened. And then they tell inconsistent stories about where they were and what happened during that day. That's all. Anyway. It's very, very interesting to see all this play out. Very interesting, because what are they going to do next? Blake also said this. This is what Blake said when he was talking to Candace. He said, once we agreed, and this is what everybody was pointing to. All these, I'm going to be straight up with you. All these dudes who are just magically pushing the same narrative of Candace is crazy. They all pointed to this. Because Blake said, he goes, once we agreed on a time, I announced it. Candace said, you name the time, you name the place, and that's what we did. As for why it was out at that time, why I put it out at that time, I'll say, I don't think she had any difficulty finding out what our scheduled time was. It seemed everybody found out quickly. Now, here's the thing, and a lot of people are pointing to this. She didn't say anytime, any place. I am at your beck and call. Don't worry about the plane tickets. I got it. Do you guys want anything from the store before I get there? That's not what she was saying. She actually says in full, she goes, name the time, name the place. We could have done it today. You don't have to do all this. We could do this. We could do a live stream. And she started moving towards the fact of, we could do this anytime because I have the ability to live stream. We could do this whenever you want. But again, Blake just kind of grabbed it. And again, this wasn't a sincere call out. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that Candace actually says. This is why I knew I was right about the whole husband birthday thing. Candace says she can't do it. Right away, she said, my husband said no. You cannot, this is what her husband said, you cannot do this Monday. He runs the household. Very nice. And he has an important thing going on that day, which involves people coming from overseas. But even if I could have made that work, I would not have been able to within 24 hours. If they had even sent me an email, because I have kids, I would have to organize things, et cetera, et cetera. But what she says there is that he has people coming from overseas. It's clearly because it's his birthday. I don't know why she doesn't just say that, but it's clearly because it's his birthday. She says there's no way in hell that George can make the 15th work. He said no. He shut it down immediately with a very valid reason. I knew it. So it has to be because it's his birthday. His birthday's on the 15th. People are coming from overseas. They can't miss it. And his wife can't be like, especially the guy has 4 kids. His wife can't just be off in some place, some studio where there's somebody who's acting completely alone, lining up some shot. We can't have that with Candace. I'm kidding. Turning Point had nothing to do. They had nothing to do with that, guys. They had nothing to do with that. Mikey's a general. And he's the most amazing person. Okay. And Frank Turek is America's pastor. And so is Rob McCoy. Okay? All right? And I won't hear anything to the contrary. Like to save myself there. Just in case. Lawsuits are coming, Lawsuits are coming. I think they're coming. I think they're coming by the 15th. I'm going to be honest. I think that's what's happening. So you got to save yourself a little bit there. I love Turning Point, actually. I like it. I really like it. I always have. I love the way they handled this whole thing. I mean, just creating so much mystery and uncertainty. I mean, that is what makes up life. That is variety. Spice of life. You never heard that? Now, here's the thing about what Blake says. Blake says that he just scheduled the time, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the thing. He said, and I showed you guys this already. He said, of course, it isn't how you book a guest, right? He said this to Jimmy Dore. We are not trying to book a guest, and we never said we were. We were delivering a response to several months of escalating harassment and lies. She was given the opportunity to join and declined. See, that's what he says. He says, oh, man, this has nothing to do. Like, we're not booking a guest here, because Jimmy Dore called him out and said, wow, like, that this is not how you book a guest. You know that you contact them, find a mutual time, etc. The normal things that everybody knows. And Blake was like, that's just not true. We're not trying to book a guest. But also, remember what I just read. In his word salad, in his Kamala style his Kamala seasoned word salad. What kind of dressing you have on that word salad? Harris. It's actually Harris. It's quite good. It's made with vodka. It's just straight vodka with salt. Oh, that's so dumb. Why is Kamala catching strays? I apologize, ma'am. What Blake says in that whole thing, he says to be detailed, and that is what we think is a fair request to make if she's going to participate, right? So he's saying that they are making a request. They are booking a guest of sorts. But then he also went on, just yesterday, to say this to Jimmy Dore. We're not booking a guest. We never said we were. But he's also saying we made a request to Candace. You have to really pick a lane here. If you're actually sitting back and saying all this stuff and saying that this person said this stuff and saying you want them in person to discuss these things so they can meet you head on, you're making a request. You're booking a guest. If right now I say, Dee got a podcast. I got a problem with him, okay? And I want him on my show live because I don't like the way he's been talking, actually. And there's a whole bunch of things I want to address. And I say this to him and we start communicating. I'm clearly trying to get him on the show. And then all of a sudden he says, I can't do that, Dan. I go, well, I'll just do a live stream where I just talk about you for 30, 40 minutes, okay? Since you declined. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. And he knows that. But here's the second thing that was verified in my mind is that Erica Kirk is the one who actually set up this whole thing. She's the one that requested that this happen, right? That's what Blake is implying. Everything is under the direction and approval of Erica Kirk. I really think there's something to this because like I told you guys before, something's happening with Erica right now. She's on with Megyn Kelly. That was just 11 days ago, right? She sits down just 2 days ago with this dude from the New York Times. And first of all, let me tell you, in Davos, when there's interviews going on and the highest elites of the world are saying the most crazy things, this guy does the interviews. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who he is, but he always seems to do the interviews. I have to say, I'm not going to mince my words. Whenever there seems to be an agenda that needs to be pushed, this guy is always the one that does these type of interviews with the person so they can push that thing. It never fails. I've seen it so many times with this guy. He's the guy people come to play ball. So she was on this guy, not his show, but it's like a whole little summit, deal book summit, hosted by New York Times, right? And then she's going to be on, and I told you guys, on the 13th with Barry Weiss. There's something going on right now. Now, I think this is going to be I said it before, a major disavowalment of Candace Owens. They removed her from the website. They want to meet her head on. They've ducked her in this whole live stream thing. Now they're just going to do an hour-long show, pretty much just calling her crazy and all her theories crazy. They're not going to be met with any pushback whatsoever, which is just, hey, I get it. I'm in a room by myself right now. It's nice not having any pushback. It's real nice. I don't even like the steel man myself. I go, why do we have to do that, Colin? Oh, we got to think of both sides. I say, screw both sides, man. Let's just talk about Turning Point. Let's say what we really think about Turning Point. We can't really do that. And another thing, Colin, why do we have to keep saying Philadelphia? Let's just call out these. And I say, relax, bro. Okay? We got kids to feed. It's nice. I'm just saying. But but I really do think there's something going on here. I think by the time we get to December 15th, there's going to be a lot that's been put into play, not just with Candace Owens getting disavowed by Turning Point, but also with Erica Kirk stepping much deeper into the role of CEO of the company. And I think the main thing she's going to have to do is exactly what Charlie would have to do. And Charlie right now would have to be focusing on who is going to be winning midterms. And he would be making major strides to make that happen. Now that Erica's in that role, that's what Erica's going to have to do. That's why she's now, slowly putting her weight behind people. She's saying JD's a dear friend and, JD was connected to Charlie and, JD's a great guy. And there's all this talk about that type of stuff. So I think that's going to be the next step, but it's going to take a disavowalment of Candace. It has to, because again, I think I said it already. Those donors are not going to have it to where Erica's opinion on Candace is silent and not put out in the open. And this is just me saying, this is me thinking Erica's going to fold to everything, which I do think she's going to. Like, imagine you're just taking over this company. You don't want it to fail. It's your husband's legacy. You have a son that you hope in years he'll be able to take over the business because that would be just the greatest thing ever. You fold to everything. You're just like, I got to make this work. There's the other side. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's like, I'm I'm going to be just like Charlie. I'm going to push. I'm going to ask questions, this, that. Maybe that's what happens. But I mean, no insult to her. I think she's going to do what makes sense for the company. And I think everybody around her right now is also that type of person that's just like, don't rock the boat. Let's make sure we get these donors in hand. Let's disavow Candace. She's saying terrible things. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I think's going on. So it's been a little bit of a whirlwind here, honestly, with all this stuff. And Turning Point looks no better. They look no better after doing this. Everybody sees what these guys are doing, and it just looks so bad. It doesn't even remotely look good what they're doing. It's so, for him to sit back, he gets called out by an actual caller, an actual supporter of theirs, then doesn't have a proper answer for Candace. Almost kind of throws Erica under the bus a little bit. But she's the CEO, so that's, I guess, what you get to do when you're a worker and someone else is the CEO. You get to throw them under the bus and just can't answer just basic things, and is now kind of running from Candace, but trying to make it seem like Candace is running from them. And, now they're just going to do a pointless live stream. And let's see when AmericaFest. When does AmericaFest start? That's, I think, the last thing I want to look up, because that might give me a clue. AmericaFest Turning Point start date. Let's see. When does it start? December 18th. And it runs through to the 21st. Yeah. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. So Erica sits down with Barry on the 13th. Blake and Andrew sit down with Candace, or with no one now, on the 15th. And then 16, 17, 18, they have disavowed Candace enough that when the donors come, and, there's going to be no hiccups. Who's in this lineup? I should actually check that as well. That's a big thing. Let me see if I can ask who is speaking. Just going to be at AmericaFest. It's just going to be Ben Shapiro. It's just going to be him. That's it. 3 hours of him. Him and Mark Levin, AmericaFest. Who's going to be speaking there? I wonder. Oh, Charlie Kirk. So it's going to be JD, Erica, Tucker. Really? Wow. I did not expect that. Tucker Carlson's going to be there? Wow. What's he going to say? Oh, man. Erica is not going to look at Tucker and say, go Max. No, she's not. There's no way she is. Steve Bannon? Wow. Junior is going to be there. Vivek. Jesse. Ben Shapiro. Matt Walsh. Michael Knowles. Oh, I knew it. I wonder how much time they get versus Russell Brand. You know what I mean? Or Ben Carson. So, yeah. There you go. A little bit of a surprise and a lot of things that I already thought, but we'll see. But they're gearing up for that because it's all about donors at that time. And on top of that, Turning Point is not just about donors, but it's also about shifting young conservative voters, right? And they need the money to do that so they can do their events and they can go to the campuses and they can help chapters start and all that stuff. So it all kind of is webbed together. So they need the donors to be on point. They need the donors to come through, and those donors want certain things. They've made that very, very clear. Man, what a sad, sad time. Because you know what? I have a good feel. Let me tell you something. This list is like, whatever. Okay, fine. Fine. It's all right. But if Charlie was here, I bet you Candace would be on that list. I bet you Nick would be on that list. Nick who? Shh. We don't say that name. We don't say that name here. But I bet you he would. I bet you Dave Smith would be there. I bet you. That's what would be happening. But anyway, I just wanted to bring all that to you guys. It's developing into something, I gotta say. And thank you guys for just all the support and all the wonderful comments. They do not go unnoticed. I don't have time to respond to all of them, but they're very much appreciated. You have no idea how hard it is to do this kind of thing every day. So when you guys do that type of stuff, say that type of stuff, like and subscribe and all that stuff, it means the world. You have no idea. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'll see you tomorrow.